More slope formula. What is the slope? Well, there's two ways that you could do the slope. You could look at the graph and do rise over run. Remember, slope is rise over run. And so the way I can do the slope is that's supposed to be a U, and that's supposed to be a U, and that's supposed to be a U. The way I could do slope is I find two dots. There's a dot, and there's a dot. I can determine that that's a negative slope because it's going down and to the right. And then I just count. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2, 3. So my slope is negative up 6 over 3. But my golly, negative 6 over 3, well, that's just negative 2. And you're right for saying that. You're absolutely right. That's one way of doing it. Scribble, scrabble, scribble, scrabble, scribble, scrabble, scribble, scrabble, scrabble. The other way of doing it is I label my points x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, and I use the formula down there. The formula down there says y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. What's y sub 2? Negative 5. Always put the minus in the middle. Y sub 1 is 1. X sub 2 I called 3. Always put the minus in the middle. And x sub 1 I called 0. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. 3 minus 0 is 3. And just like I said up here, negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Two ways of doing the same thing. But now you know both ways. Now you know both ways. And we're going to learn something new. It's called proportional relationships. What that is, you ask? Well, things that are proportional means that they are like this guy. See this little boy or girl walking that little adorable pony? They're in proportions. That's cute because both of them are small. Ha ha ha. Proportions. What does that mean in math, though? Things that are a proportional relationship are in the form y equal mx. And if you're wondering, wait a minute. You called slope m. That was in a Kahoot that we did. You called slope m once. Does this mean that's the same thing? That this means slope? That m there means slope? Absolutely it does. Okay. What my proportional relationship also does is it goes through the origin. It goes through 0, 0. So wherever I start at 0, I'm at 0. So if I were to be like, if I work a certain amount of hours, I get a certain amount of money. Well, if I work 0 hours, I make 0 money. It starts at 0, 0. Okay, that's what makes it proportional. And a little trick is that whatever 1 is, m, is going to be your slope. So I'll try to memorize that. Whatever 1 is, m is the slope. So as you already know, y equals mx plus b, which is what I said, where y is y, x is x, and m represents some number that means slope. Y is y, x is x, and m represents some number that means slope. So my job is to tell whether x and y are in a proportional relationship. Explain your reasoning. If yes, write an equation that represents the relationship. Okay, so first off, in the chat, if you want to, let's go back to our picture. A proportional relationship goes through the center, and whatever 1 is, m is the slope. Okay? Okay. Is this proportional? You can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat. What's that? Somebody said no. Somebody said no because it doesn't go through the center. You would be absolutely correct. You would be absolutely correct. This is a no because it doesn't go through the center. What about this guy? Is this guy proportional? Yes. If so, write an equation that represents the relationship. Remember what we said before. When x is 1, y is your slope. So for proportional relationships, when x is 1 and x is 1 right there, y is your slope. So y is 4. So this point, 1, 4, lives on the line. And 4 is my slope. So if proportional relationships are in the form y equals mx, and that guy is my m, then my answer is y equals 4x. Dunzo. That's kind of tricky to remember. There's a lot of steps. So let me say it one more time. Let me just go over it one more time. The rule is, so I'll kind of go through it backwards. I'll write stuff out backwards. This is asking me to write out an equation. The equation of a proportional relationship is y equals mx. Here, it also said before that whenever x was 1, the y value, the other value, was going to be your m. So 4, this is the point 1, 4, because when x is 1, y is 4. And so 4 is your m. So my equation is rewriting y equals mx, but instead of m, putting 4. My equation is y equals 4x. Tricky. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Tell whether x and y are in a proportional relationship. Explain your reasoning. I guess the easiest way to do this is look for a pattern. Look for a pattern. Oh, that won't help. I'm trying to avoid doing the other thing. I don't want to do it. 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 I have to do it. Let's go in reverse. You do have to go look for a pattern. If your pattern at all gets crazy or wacky and breaks, it's no longer proportional. So let's look for a pattern. So when I go from here to here to here, the pattern I get is going from 3 to 6, you add 3, and 6 to 9, you add 3, and 9 to 12, you add 3. And going from here to here to here, you add 1, add 1, add 1. So I have a pattern. The other thing I have to do is I have to make sure it goes through 0, 0. So if I go in reverse, if going right was plus 3, then going left is minus 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. Going right was plus 1 down here, which means going left is minus 1, 0, 0. So is this proportional? Yes. My slope is rise over run. Okay, remember, if I have a proportional relationship, it's in the form y equals mx. M is slope. M is rise over run. The rise is the y values, and the run is the x values. So in this case, my slope is going to be the y values, which is +1, +1, +1, over the x values, which is +3, +3, +3. So my slope is 1/3. And if I take that and plug it into here, then my equation is going to be y equals 1/3 x, and that's it. That's not that much fun at all. Let's do the next one. Find the pattern. +3, +3, +3. So that works. +4 plus, what is that? Plus 5 plus 10. The pattern broke. So if the pattern broke, is this proportional? No. Gross. Fun fact, the steeper the line, the faster it goes. So if runner A and runner B are running, runner A is faster because it's a steeper line. Runner A is faster because it's a steeper line. Runner A is faster because it's a steeper line. Runner A is faster because it's a steeper line. Runner A is faster because it's a steeper line. I have this graph here. I have a bunch of red dots, which is the small car, and I have a bunch of blue dots, which is the big car. Which one's faster? The red, which is the small. Very important fact. The slope is also the rate. What's a rate? A rate is, oh, you work 6 hours and earn $69, then your rate is $11.50 per hour. Oh, you milliliters, what is that, liquid? You're spilling 3,000 milliliters of liquid over 6 hours, then your rate is going to be 3,000 divided by 6, or 69 divided by 6. Or if I'm driving around and I'm going, if I drive 260 miles over 10 hours, then I'm getting 26 miles to the gallon. Okay. It's rate is something per something, and it's the top per the bottom. So milliliters per 6 hours is 3,000 per 6, which means 3,000 divided by 6. So 3,000 milliliters divided by 6 hours, 500 milliliters per hour. Slope is rate, also known as the rate of change. So if you hear me say rate of change, I'm talking about slope. Slope and rate of change are exactly the same. The cost Y in dollars to rent a kayak is proportional to the number of X hours that you rent the kayak. It costs $27 to rent a kayak for 3 hours. Write an equation that represents the situation. Okay, first off, we need to find the slope. Okay, so it costs you Y dollars to rent a kayak, whatever. Okay, I pay $27 over the course of 3 hours. $27 over 3 hours is going to be 27 divided by 3. $9 per hour. That is how much I pay per hour. That is my rate. My rate is $9 per hour. So A is saying, write an equation that represents the situation. Y equals $9 per hour. B says interpret the slope. Interpret the slope means what does the slope mean? The slope means I pay $9 per hour. C says, how much does it cost to rent the kayak for 5 hours? Well, my equation is y equals 9 times x, where x represents hours. So if I care about 5 hours, I'm going to replace x with 5. And we all knew that it was going to be 9 times 5 anyway. So that's going to be 45. $45, baby. Whew. It's a pretty cheap afternoon. It's not bad. It's all fun. The distance, y, in miles, so I can see that there's my y and it's in miles. The y-axis is the uppy-downy axis, the rise. That a truck travels on X gallons of gasoline is represented by the equation y equals 18x. The graph shows the distance a car travels. Oh, I have two different things going on. Okay. I have a truck, and I'll make trucks blue because why not? The truck is y equals 18x. The number in front of x is my rate. So if I'm doing miles over gallons, this truck gets 18 miles per gallon. Now let's look at the car. Is that proportional? Yes. Remember from one of the first slides that we did is whenever your x is 1, that's going to be your slope. Whenever your x is 1, that's going to be your slope. So the equation I can come up with for this guy, for the car, is y equals, that number right there is 25x. What that means is the car goes 25 miles per gallon. So the car is better for gas. Which vehicle has better gas mileage? The car. Why? Because if I wanted to explain, I would say the car gets 25 miles a gallon and the truck only has 18. How much further can the vehicle you choose in part A travel on 8 gallons of gasoline? Okay. So what it's asking me is, say the truck goes 8, or say you fill up the truck with 8 gallons of gas and you just go. I'm going to use the equation y equals 18x because the truck is y equals 18x. X represents gallons. X is gallons. And I want to put 8 gallons in the tank. So the truck with 8 gallons of gas can go. What's 18 times 8?
It's 144.
144 miles. The car can go 25 miles per gallon. And if I have 8 gallons in that vehicle, that's 200. The question is asking, how much further can it go? How much farther can it go? Well, what I do is I do 200 minus 144. And that gives me 56 miles. That's it. Is this a proportional relationship? Does it go through 0, 0? No. Why? Because it doesn't go through 0, 0.